Hi, good evening. Welcome to another episode of this vlog. I'm gonna share my latest article from my newsletter. If you haven't checked that out, please. It's called a beautiful wisdom.substack.com. If you find yourself being or suffering from anxiety or panic attacks or intrusive thoughts, or there's confusion, doubt, or just too much overwhelm, they're up here in your head. You can find a lot of helpful resources in there. Very straightforward and simple articles that, in one way or another, might help you, or you could get or gain insight from, that somehow could transform your life in one way or another. So yeah, my latest article is entitled "The Wisdom of the Even Insecure Anxious Mind" is just underneath. If it's not there, then it's in the surrounding massive space, never left, never will. I shared in this article, there's this series that I was watching last week. It's a series from Netflix, and it's called The Glass Heart. It's about a band. It's about a band or a group of people trying to form a band, and trying to break through the rock rock music scene. And so the series opened with a scene where Akane, a college girl, an aspiring drummer, in the midst of a rock music festival. It seems like it's a really huge event, and at the time, while a lot of, you know all the types of people, the crowd was listening to this particular band at the front, there in the back, he or she was begging her bandmates not to dump her, but it never happened. And they were saying that her music or her drumming was a little bit heavy, and they did not like it, and they have an image that they wanted, which is like an all guy band. And so in that scene, she was very frustrated, and probably there was anger there, disappointment, that turned into a crippling self-doubt, and it began to rain. It it was a huge downpour, and for some reason that I feel like the writer used it as a metaphor, so that heavy downpour kind of like washed away those reeling thoughts in her head. And what she did, instead of continue to pack up and leave the place, she set up again her set, and she began to poke the drum set, hammer the drums like she never did before. And while she was doing that, on the other side, I mean on the stage, another character was introduced, and while hearing her drumming, he he went to the piano and kind of played the piano as he hear the beats kind of harmonize with it. And well, Akane was probably surprised, and hearing there's was another musician who is playing with her and hear what was going on in her mind. And I quote, "There was only sound there, the rain, the scenery, and even me. The boundaries between everything blurred, and I realized I was born to meet this sound. I'm sure this sound was a gift from the gods." Akane. I find that scene beautiful because while thoughts of insecure thoughts were running in her head, but on the other side, the wisdom tried to kick in, and eventually it was able to kind of like whisper to Akane that follow that feeling of wanting to play music. And she did. And from an experience of being disappointed, mad, to a feeling of probably this is how I felt when I was watching that scene. I was kind of washed away and my being was just expanded and my heart was getting big like this. In retrospect, I think I don't have any words to put in that experience. It's just this feeling. And so I decided to write an article about it. So wisdom versus folly. But I put something like a strikeout. Wisdom, strike out the word versus and folly. In one, I mean, who who wants to be called fool or foolish? I don't. I don't want to be called that. Probably I wanted to be the person who who is saying the right things, who has the right answer to things, who has the solution to the problems, or showing up in the right time, right place. Something, that kind of person, and not doing foolish things. I shared one of my sessions with one of my mentors, Hannah Studley. Check her out. She usually focuses, her work focuses on chronic pain. And I saw, with that session, I saw wisdom in a different light. She said, these people who hear things, who see or hear things that are not there, or maybe they're acting inappropriately of very far from what we are accustomed to. She said it's still wisdom. When you think about it and step back, it's still wisdom because these people created their own world, another world where they feel safe because the world, this world that they used to, that they were living, did not feel safe anymore, and so that's why they created their own world to protect themselves. And these people also who are displaying inappropriate behavior or abnormal, maladaptive behavior, it's also wisdom because when you think about it, it's it's like a language of the mind and the body to the outside world that hey, this person is asking for help so that we from the outside world could actually take a second look. All right, this person is acting weird and would actually probably need a help or care or proper treatment. And when I first heard about that, I was I was kind of like blown away because I did not see it that way, especially coming from a training in nursing school. All I saw was that these people who have this kind of conditions and behavior, these people are just malfunctioning. They're not operating on an optimal level. There is an abnormality, period. That's it. But I did not see that as our innate wisdom, even in that state of extreme insecurity of the mind, the kind of insecurity that affects our day to day and affects our loved ones. And it's like I'm in a bubble and it was poked and it burst, and I saw a light, that a kind of light that I never thought I needed. And I was covered by, when I first heard that, I felt covered by a blanket of love, that wisdom is with me. And now, I put like a strike out of the word versus, because right now, what comes to mind, I do not see wisdom and folly two separate things. For me right now, they're kind of just one string, or in a continuum or a spectrum that we slide from end to end depending on our moods or a lot of different factors. And the difference is just the energy that goes with it. So with folly or insecurity, it feels dragging, urgent, immediate, burdensome, heavy. Well, wisdom, and for folly, there are a lot of things going on, thoughts going on, in whatever form. But with wisdom, there's just lightness and clarity and expansion. And it's more of a feeling than too much going on here. It's more of here. That's how I experience it. There's just lightness in being. You become a feather that is floating in the air. You're floating, but you're being held to. That's the only, probably not the closest, or the closest metaphor that I could describe to, but I know it's beyond that. Let me share you a story. So I remember after the accident that I had, and this is like a couple of months or several months after, at the height of anxiety and panic, that from a girl who, go outside, did solo traveling in far, far away mountains. No holding back to a girl who became agoraphobic, and just even, leaving my room, it's as if there's a darkness that's chasing, that's after me, and there's this shadow that, and a story in my head that there is something bad that's gonna happen to me when I leave my room. But then, even spending time in my room, it did not feel safe also at all. But you know what? Right now, in retrospect, looking back, there were actually 3 months in which I just spent my whole time, 99% of the time, inside my room. And I did not even think that, because I also having health anxiety. And when you say, when you hear, doctors, experts, or wellness teachers that, oh, you don't want to spend, most of the time in your room because it's gonna worsen your mental health, etc., etc. In this 3 months, wherein I was just literally 99% of the time inside my room, I did not think about that. And then I was able to write a short story that morphed into sort of a screenplay. And I have never done anything like that in my life. And I have that short story. Maybe one day I'm gonna share that to you. And it's it's amazing. I was blown away with that experience, because that's like, I really at the height of my anxiety and panic. But there were actually 3 months of peace and quiet. Although, you know, after writing, it will fall again into the thinking and anxiety. But, for the most part, I was able to do that. And the it's the intelligence, it's the wisdom, the great spirit, God, I don't know. It was my experience. Just felt so light and clear during that time. But again, after that, that's even way before I knew about three principles. So I still have roller coaster ride after that. It's a pretty long journey, I must say. At least in Nico's mind, that's a pretty long journey. And so it's just telling me that wisdom is, it's kind of like a pendulum that even if goes from end to end, as crazy as how far it can go, but it will always go back to the center. And you'd never have a choice. It always goes back to the center. Also, wisdom lets you know that you are the thinker of your thoughts, while fully focuses on the contents of your thoughts. We always do that. We focus on the contents, because as with the three principles, it's how we are designed. No one is immune in falling to the trap of the illusion of our thinking. But there were quiet moments, I'm sure you have those experiences, that you catch yourself. Why am I thinking that? But we know with people who are having, severe anxiety and panic attacks, very rare that that comes to your mind, because we believe that whatever is coming through our mind, it could be, I mean, it's true, it's a fact. Innocently, we do it innocently, that we don't realize that it doesn't it doesn't mean that whatever comes to our mind doesn't mean that it's true all the time, or it must be true. It just tells you that the quality of your thinking is low at that moment. If you feel like wisdom, i I know that for those people who are having disorganized anxiety, really at the height of anxiety and panic, it feels like 24/7% of the time. It's There's no rest. That whatever wisdom Nico is talking about probably left you. No, it did not leave you. It's there. Even at the thick of an anxiety or panic attack, it's there. This anxiety and panic, I'm not sure if this is how it's happening in that realm or world, in that realm or whatever that is. But that wisdom, you know, underneath, or this, if that's here, if it's not underneath, is like just, here floating around. Come to think about it, if there's like this anxiety and panic, too much severe, come to think about it, wisdom would not actually fight and go against it, because common sense would tell you and wisdom would tell you that this strong storm here, common sense would tell you that it's just an exhausting battle. And common sense would tell you that, okay, there's like a surge there. It means it wants to come out, wants to go out there. Anxiety goes, badly wants to go out of you the same way that you wanted to go out. It's there. It's like this boiling water, and then the pressure builds up. It wanted to release. That's it. That's it. And wisdom will tell you that, okay, that energy wants to go out, and so I'll just wait. So it's there, it's here underneath the anxiety and panicky mind. That surge, that storm, that sensation, that feeling of being doomed, that feeling of dread, it just means that you wanted to come out, or you're innocently kind of preventing them to actually go out of your system innocently by believing that that strong surge, that strong feeling it's giving to you, it's something that is a fact or true. But it doesn't have to be that way. So there, I hope you have gained even a little insight about that. And if you have questions about what something that I have shared to you tonight, please feel free to send me an email or comment comment below what your thoughts about it. I really love to hear from you. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.